Welcome, Resistance scum, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Review from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And joining us again this week from the Nerds Unite as One show right here on YouTube, Paul.
Hello, fellow geeks. I am so excited to be here to discuss this welcome return to Star Wars greatness.
Exactly. We are, if you haven't guessed from Paul's Steelbook Blu-ray, we are talking about Episode 7, The Force Awakens, which was a return to form. After 10 years of no Star Wars movies, we started getting one every year.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
Wow.
What do you guys respond to that?
Well, I'm just, it's kind of shocking. We get a Star Wars movie we did get a Star Wars movie every year.
We did, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we got one last year.
Yep.
We'll get one this year.
Yep.
And then nothing in the hopper right now, but
anyone's guess. Well, we got Star Wars TV series coming. Yes.
Right. Exactly. So we are talking about the JJ Abrams return, tour de force Star Wars movie, The Force Awakens.
Tour de force. I like that. Nice.
Yes. Also currently standing as the top grossing, I apologize, my dryer just went off. The top grossing domestic release of all time, beating out Avatar.
And the third highest worldwide gross of all time.
We knew it was going to be big. I didn't think it was going to be that big.
I don't think anyone did.
No.
I kind of had a feeling it would be.
You know what the interesting thing was? I don't know if we ever got like that response, the James Cameron Sour Grapes response that we get with every other movie that dare take any attention away from any of the previous works that he's done. I really was waiting for that because he won't shut up about women's movies. I'm just waiting for him to bring up Captain Marvel at this point. Well, Sarah Connor was a stronger hero.
Wonder Woman wasn't a good female hero because she's too pretty.
What's with the talking with the fish? Let's get back on track about The Force Awakens. We've talked about everything but The Force Awakens. Paul, I'm assuming you saw this in the theater, right?
If I didn't, I'd have to revoke my nerd card.
Okay. I remember, Mike was with me when I saw this. Yep. We were all together. It was glorious. I felt like a 5-year-old watching Star Wars for the first time again when I was sitting in the theater watching this. I had never been more excited in my life to go see a movie. And for me, it was a great experience because not only did I get to experience that, my wife was with me, my best friends were with me, and it was just like, oh God, this is what happiness feels like. I want this all the time. And oh God, and then when I took my daughter to see it, because that's back when I used to vet movies to see if it was appropriate enough for her, she really enjoyed it. In fact, right after, and I'm assuming everyone here is watching this has seen The Force Awakens. If not, go watch it because there's going to be a ton of spoilers. When Kylo Ren runs through Han Solo, my daughter leans over and says, "Daddy, I promise you I'll never kill you."
Wow, that is true love right there.
She is truly my child.
I'm sorry, that was just funny.
Oh, I'm glad. No, it was really funny because I was sitting there and she's kind of leaning up against me and she just looks and she says that, and she was like 8 at the time. And no, she wasn't even, she was 7. And she's just like, "Daddy, I promise I won't kill you." And I'm just like,
thank you, dear.
That was great.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah, it was awesome. In fact, there is at the very end, we were watching it. We were on vacation a couple of years ago when it first came out on DVD. I brought it with us on vacation. She and I are watching it. At the very end, here's Rey, and she's got the lightsaber. Yeah, I brought props today. She's got the lightsaber, and Luke looks at her, and my daughter looks at me and goes, "There was a hand. Did you bring the hand too?"
Yeah, I was doing that too.
There's a hand down
Whoop.
there. It's just like the drop shaft for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Well, this movie holds for me. It holds the record of the movie I've seen most in theaters.
Really? How many times did you see it?
I saw it 6 times in theater, and I saw it most of it a 7th time on an airplane.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was. I can't remember if I was.
Get the money for that?
I mostly went to matinee shows, to be honest.
Right. Mike also, he doesn't have children or anything like that.
Yeah, I was actually. I think I was either flying to California or Florida, and the flight was like really delayed, so they gave everyone a free movie credit. And hey, look at what movie was showing, The Force Awakens. Let's watch that. I think I got up to like the get up to the last 5 minutes, and then we landed. So
well, it's okay. We actually, I actually the movie I've seen the most in the theaters, in its original run, was Phantom Menace, followed up by Pulp Fiction. But
yeah, the movie before this one was The Lion King.
Okay. But when we were at Disney World, this is in 2016, it had just been released on home video. And you know how Disney World has their movies under the stars at the resorts?
Yeah.
So we're staying at the Art of Animation. We just got back from whatever park, and we're walking through the courtyard, and they've got the movies under the stars. And there's this big screen, and people like putting out blankets and watching this movie. And I stopped. And I looked at the scene, and I'm like, we're not going anywhere for 1 minute. And my wife's looking at me like, why? Because Han turns to Finn and goes, that's not how the Force works. And I was like mouthing that line. I said I was like, okay, now we can go. Oh, you're cold. That's going to bring me to my first point about why I love this movie so much. I really enjoy the newfound sense of humor that this movie has. I mean, there's always been humor in movies. There's always been those little jokey things here and there. The original trilogy, I think, handled it a lot better than the prequel trilogy when it came to humor. But some of it's a new age of humor for a lot of the little one-liners and stuff. The fact that Han and Chewie are essentially an old married couple at this point. So the fact that he can just call Chewbacca out on, oh, you're cold. And how he's been around the Force long enough to know how it works and how it doesn't work. And
this from the same guy that said, who doesn't believe in all that hocus pocus and nonsense.
Oh, yeah, but it's all true, all of it. But the scene with Poe at the very beginning of the movie, and I knew we were in for something special, when he's looking at Kylo Ren, Kylo's staring right back and goes, so how does this work? Do you speak first? Do I speak first? I really love that. It just really humanizes a lot of this movie, especially after the last 3 movies where everything was a little stiffer and a little more setting the placemat for something that already happened, that we already know happened. It was nice to kind of just have this long freewheeling story that can take you in another direction. You don't know how it's going to end.
Misa doesn't know what you're talking about.
Quiet, you. Paul, thoughts?
I mean, I think you guys have pretty much gone over everything.
We just started.
I mean, the one thing I can add is just I friggin' love this movie. I mean, I know that our backlash against the prequels have softened in recent years significantly in light of some recent movies, but hit the rewind machine 4 years. The fans were still really hating on this movie or hating on the prequels, and I think Disney realized that they needed to give us something that looked and felt like Star Wars, and they did. I know a lot of it was on repeat, but it was at the time that was needed, and it just felt like such a joy to watch. Like, you really felt like, okay, this is a Star Wars movie. I know this universe. I know these characters. I'm invested. So, I mean, as far as Disney's future with Star Wars goes, it's going to be divisive, but at least for that one movie, if nothing else, Disney had it. They united the fan base again, and you got to applaud them for it.
Yeah. I think that this movie gets accused a lot of playing it safe. I think retroactively, because of some of the backlash of The Last Jedi and Solo, that people have kind of deemed this movie less good because of it. This movie, to Paul's point, had to play it safe. This movie was following up 3 sequels, which ranged from, it was okay, to, God, no, why? So, yep, go ahead. It really feels like they had to play it safe. And in certain cases, they had to do some of the repeat stuff, like, it's bigger than the Death Star. Here's a comparison, but we still have to do it the same way as the Death Star.
Trench run, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the trench run, exactly. You're going to have that epic lightsaber duel, but the lightsaber duel wasn't exactly an epic duel, more than just the one master and the one person who should not know how to use that lightsaber being able to fight him back with 0 training.
Right. Well, I mean, if you just like kind of say it's like a carbon copy of the original one was Obi-Wan at his kind of, I'm ready to go, and Darth Vader at like, I just want to kill you at this point.
Right. Exactly.
So,
that's exactly what it is. And it was a continuation of a story we had no. So A New Hope is exactly that. A continuation of a story we had no idea about the previous chapters.
Right.
With The Force Awakens, what you're dealing with is the events that happened. You don't know the events that led up to this sequence of events. But you do know that the rebellion triumphed over the Empire, and that in between that time period, something happened. Something very bad happened, and the First Order rose and essentially just repeated what the Empire was doing. Essentially, we're back to square one. The Resistance are the rebels. The First Order is the Empire. Just more Nazi-ish than I thought possible. With their giant galaxy-destroying weapon now. It's not just going to destroy a planet. It destroys an entire galaxy.
Right.
Which was a really cool sequence.
It was. If I had one kind of larger criticism, is that we really didn't feel the loss of those planets. I mean, we got that quick shot of the people like looking up and seeing the beam coming, but we really didn't know who any of those people were.
Right, exactly. It wasn't like Leia standing on the bridge of the Death Star and watching her home planet be destroyed.
Right. I mean, if they had like maybe introduced like a couple of those characters like early on, like maybe a meeting with Leia or something, or even had Leia just kind of communicating with them right before, then that might have given a little bit more. But it was just like, oh look, bunch of people, oh they're dead.
Yep.
That's too bad.
That's a damn shame. Let's go blow it up. Well, the thing about this movie that its purpose was to integrate the familiar with the new, because the new has to carry it on. I mean, nobody had any idea that Carrie Fisher was going to be dead a year after this movie was released. Harrison Ford legitimately was good for one movie.
Yeah.
He's not the kind of guy who drags these roles out. When he does, you get Crystal Skull. When you're motivated, you get The Force Awakens. When he's just bringing these characters back.
To be fair, his motivation was to do what he'd wanted to do ever since Empire Strikes Back.
Yep, pretty much he wanted to die.
Yep.
and he got his wish. And it does the feelings of that are still, it's repercussions that are still felt in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But with this, you get the familiar, but you're introduced to very real world type of struggles in terms of, when you're introduced to Rey, when you're introduced to Finn, not so much Poe. Poe is very much an ancillary character in this movie.
Right.
But when you meet Rey, it's just like she just finds herself thrown in to all of this.
Yeah.
And she just happens to be very, very good at these things. She doesn't understand why, and we kind of feel that from her. Finn is an interesting character because with Finn, he really is, he's us. He's that guy that's just like, I just need to get away from here. And how am I going to do that? There's that great bit where he's talking about the Resistance, and he's like, the Resistance, I'm with the Resistance. I am with the Resistance. And that's how we would respond to that. And the fact that there's always going to be someone there to cock block him, in this case, BB-8.
With Finn, his arc really in this movie is not to be a hero. His arc is just, I don't want to be in the First Order anymore. I just want to go away and hide somewhere. And it's through the course of this movie that he's like, I care about these people. I kind of want to help protect them.
His entire means of this movie is survival.
Yeah.
Whereas like when we're introduced to Han Solo in the first movie, his selfish motivation is money. Finn's selfish motivation is survival. And he does everything to get to just surviving until he realizes that somebody he cares about is in danger, and he throws himself in there, just like Han Solo did when he blew up the ship right next to Darth Vader's. And what?
I love that scene, by the way.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Doesn't love that scene. So, Paul, we were just kind of talking about just kind of the overall place setting of this movie, where it fits and why they kind of did the things that they did to make it move forward.
Okay.
While you were away.
Okay.
Let's kind of go over some of these characters real quick. Like Joe, who is one of the co-hosts of our show, says that Poe Dameron is his spirit animal. Just using this movie alone, how are we on the Poe thing?
His bromance with Finn was something to behold.
It is a rather interesting thing. I'd never seen anyone try to ship two men in a Star Wars movie before, but fan fiction exists for a reason, right? Poe is an interesting character because Poe is very much the soldier who never got to experience the Force the way that his parents, who, in canon were there at the Battle of Endor, were able to experience. Like, he didn't experience anything in regards to the Jedi, which makes that scene at the very beginning when he shoots the blaster and Kylo throws his hand out and stops the blast, which is an amazing shot, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That he's just looking at that in like sheer disbelief as he's walking past the bolt just frozen in midair.
Yeah. I don't know. Poe, I like Poe so much in this movie, even in small doses, because yes, he is he's the comedic relief, but especially in the final battle, you do get the sense that he is a competent commander. He is someone that is willing and able to take on a leadership role.
Right. He's the cocky flyboy, though. And that's, you kind of want that. That's kind of like the Han Solo-ishness of him. Any thoughts on Poe, Paul?
I mean, pretty much just what Mike said. I freaking loved him for a long. I mean, he was so fun watching him just kick some ass in that X-wing. It reminded me, in a way, it's how I imagine I guess how Luke would be if he chose to just be a strict pilot instead of a Jedi. He would just be this total legendary starfighter, and with a cocky attitude to match. So I mean, that was fun to watch.
I really enjoyed Poe's positive. He has a super positive attitude about everything, especially when he's like, when he meets Finn for the first time, he's like, "We're gonna do this."
I think there was some kind of connection. He realized Finn just didn't have it in him to be First Order, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, you help me get out, I'll help you get out."
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that a lot. Ray, what do we think of what are our thoughts on Ray in The Force Awakens? I'll let somebody else start.
Yeah, Paul, go, you start here.
Okay. I was not one of those people who bought into the whole Mary Sue thing, whatever that was. I kind of didn't pay much attention to it. I try not to bring political bullshit into movies. Because if you think about it, I suppose in a way Luke was kind of the same way, at least in episode 4. You know, he was this kid we didn't know really much about, although we know he's got some incredible power. I see Ray kind of the same way. It's only, you know, looking with what we've gotten now that I guess I can understand a little bit more. We're saying, oh, Ray's just an overpowered nobody. Because I don't think I haven't seen her get like the development, at least character-wise, that I think she should have, at least not the way Luke got in episode 5. But I mean, at the time, I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, just fresh-faced kid learning about this whole new world that she didn't realize existed. I think a lot of us would kind of behave like that.
Exactly. There's that line that she has when they make it to Maz's planet, and she's just like, "I never realized there was so much green." And it's such a great line, because it's like her world, her universe are being opened up in real time in front of us. And yeah, I mean, I truly despise the term Mary Sue, just in any aspect of it. I'm with Paul on this. It's like when we meet Luke Skywalker, and what can he do? Well, he can fly military grade jets that he's never flown before with expertise.
Just like flying a T-16 back home.
Right, exactly. Which I learned is kind of similar, but not exactly the same as, again, a military grade starship. Yeah, I liked her a lot, and I liked her sense of wonder and the fact that she's looking for a sense of self. She's looking to find out who she is. And in the meantime, she's still open to becoming, very, very close friends, especially with Finn. I really feel the connection that they have. I don't feel it's a romantic connection. I feel it's just a very strong, Finn's in the friend zone with her, but it's a very strong besties type of connection. And you really feel that throughout this movie.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And it is fun too to watch her like fly the Millennium Falcon and just kind of realize what she's doing. She's like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Which brings us to Finn. I love Finn. I really love Finn. He's just such a great everyman character who hated his job so much that he betrayed his entire army to get out of it. John Boyega's delivery on most of the lines where he is being kicked, beaten, shocked, burned. He's so good at doing that.
The thing that most stands out for me with John Boyega is that kind of just home video of him with his family watching the Star Wars trailer and seeing him geek the heck out. I mean, he was just he was jumping on couches. He was just, I'm like, dude, this is a Star Wars fan living out his biggest, wildest dream.
Exactly. You know what the interesting thing about that whole thing is that all the marketing had Finn with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like my son has got these 2 standees in his room, and they're just like these Force Awakens placards. And one is the First Order, and there's Kylo with his mask, and he's got the 2 stormtroopers. And the next one is Rey in the front with her staff, Finn behind her with the lightsaber, and then Poe full helmet on. You can barely see his face.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, even like the very first, pretty much all of the Force Awakens posters, that lightsaber was, if it was on the poster at all, it was in Finn's hands.
Right, exactly. He uses it twice.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's just like this one-off thing where he ignited it and then Rey just took it away from him.
Yeah.
He has that great bit when he's like, I need a weapon. And Ma's just like, you have one.
And then he proceeds to get his ass handed to him.
Exactly, by one of the shock troops. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Thoughts on Kylo Ren? We're limiting it just to The Force Awakens. He's a tough call. I think he's my least favorite new character. And I think it's just one of those things that once the final piece of the puzzle is put together in episode 9, I'll probably turn around on him. But right now, there's still a lot of teenage angst going around in that 35-year-old's body.
Paul, you want to start with this one?
I mean, how old is Kylo in this film? I mean, is he 17? Is he 23? I mean, it does remind me a little bit of Anakin, and how would the galaxy's greatest villains start off? A whiny teenager. He'd be this emo kid with issues.
Right.
So, I mean, I can Kylo's has a difficult heritage. I mean, on the one hand, you have his uncle, the great Jedi Master, savior of the galaxy. And on the other hand, you have his grandfather, a former Jedi general legend who's plunged the galaxy into the darkest period it's seen in centuries. I mean, that's a hell of a lineage to have. And well, where do you fall?
Right.
And that led me to the theory, because I have this argument with this talk with my dad, who has no interest in seeing these films. He's like, the prequels about Anakin's rise, his fall, the original trilogy about his redemption through his son. What are these sequels going to mount up? And I'm thinking, until I'm proven wrong, that Rey is somehow not, linked to Luke or Obi-Wan, until it's definitively proven, I think what the sequel trilogy about is what will be the legacy of Anakin Skywalker. Will it be Anakin as embodied by Rey, or will it be Darth Vader as embodied by Kylo Ren? I think until I see episode 9, I think that's what the sequel trilogy will be. It'll be what is the legacy of Anakin Skywalker? Because in the end, that's what these films have all been about. He has been the central focus.
Right. I feel like with Kylo, he drifted. He wants the power of the Jedi with it's essentially as the path of least resistance. That's what makes him susceptible. Just like with Anakin and Palpatine, that's what makes him susceptible with Snoke. I feel also that he views his grandfather, Darth Vader, as being he never gave up on the Force. His uncle Luke, who, going forward one movie, in a moment of weakness, looked like he was going to kill him. His grandfather never let go of the Force. And that's what he's trying to embody. He doesn't want to let go of the Force because I don't think he quite understands that the power itself is going to be what brings him down. I try not to write these movies in my head before I watch them. I'm just in it. Episode 9, I am in it for the ride. I am just in it for the ride. But I think that with Kylo Ren, it's difficult to gauge all of that from the first movie. He's infatuated with Darth Vader. The fact that he has his burned up helmet, you creep. But he, what was I trying to say? And I think he resents Luke for giving up on the Force in the manner that he did.
For me, the scene that's most stands out about Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens is when I forget what he's told, but then he just goes ape shit and starts destroying a computer console. He just massacres it. It's just nothing but molten slag and metal. And then he just kind of like turns to the lightsaber and says, "Is there?" The stormtrooper and goes, "Is there anything else?" That is, I mean, basically that's he's trying to, he's trying to be a dark side. He's trying to be the heir to the lineage of Darth Vader. He's trying to be this formidable force, but then he's just throwing these temper tantrums. He doesn't know he doesn't know how to channel the dark side. He's just kind of like this guy that has this power and just wants to use it to do the most menial things.
If I may, and I've heard this mentioned before, that Kylo Ren, and especially in The Last Jedi, when Snoke tells him to take that ridiculous mask off, Kylo Ren with the mask is essentially a Vader fanboy. Kylo Ren without the mask is the Vader fan. And the Vader fanboy can't get over the fact that things don't go his way when it goes to all things Vaderness. So crash, 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 burn, 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 burn. I'm going to troll all these YouTube sites. The Kylo without the mask is more balanced. He's less impulsive. He's more clear-headed, but he understands this is what I am into, and I am going to do that, and so be everything else. Like he said, and again, in The Force Awakens, in The Last Jedi, which I know we're not really talking about, is let the past die, kill it if you need to, which means letting go of that Vader lineage, letting go of that Vader legend, and being his own awful person.
He is an awful person.
Yeah, exactly.
In both movies, he's an awful person.
Mm-hmm.
He murders a lot of people. Okay, so confession time. When this movie came out, as I am wont to do, I do strap my wagon to a character. This time, that character was Captain Phasma. I feel like a goddamned idiot. I really wanted her to do cool things. And she's imposing. And she's got the chrome armor. And she's got she doesn't even have the one shoulder pontoon. She has a friggin' half cape. She's got the awesome weapons. It's Gwendolyn Christie. She's got that imposing Brand of Tarth voice. And nothing.
Andy, right here.
Oh, you mean, hold on.
You mean this right here? What we're looking at?
Yeah. No. I've got the action.
Mike. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, we've both got the action figures.
Yeah. Still in the
I just got the representation of her.
And the action figures do a lot more in this casing than she did in the entire movie.
Exactly. It just, oh God, it drove me insane. My Facebook avatar for the first month, the month leading up to The Force Awakens was like an emoji of Captain Phasma. I was so on board with that. It's like I had a countdown and this awesome oil painting of Captain Phasma and a goddamn trash compactor.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is though, is that in the comic books, she actually she manages to murder a lot of people to get off that planet before it goes up. Which is, I guess that's on brand, right?
Yep, it is.
Yep. What are our thoughts on BB-8? I actually enjoyed getting a different fun droid in the movie that didn't just have his sassy robot sidekick life partner with him the entire time.
Paul, you take this one.
I mean, as far as comic relief goes, I mean, I think anything would have been better than Jar Jar Binks. But yeah, BB-8 became, what was supposed to be like a simple, comic relief side character turned into one of my favorites. I adore BB-8.
There's a lot of personality.
Almost as much as Mike adores Porgs. And that man is porg crazy.
Oh, I love me some porgs. What do you have there, Mike? What is that?
That is BB-8.
I know it's BB-8. What turn your microphone on?
This is the little BB-8 Sphero toy.
Oh, you get the Sphero. What do I get?
Yeah, I picked this up at Star Wars Celebration.
I've got this here from Disney Hollywood Studios. There was a straw on the top of his head.
Yeah, well, I can take this head off and put it back on.
Well, that's the point. It's a magnet. It's what it does.
Where are you? There you are.
I really feel like BB-8 is the kind of it's a wonder when you can get a lot of personality in something that doesn't speak.
Yeah.
Just like every droid, like every Astro droid, he just beeps. But there's a lot of stuff, and there's that one bit when Finn is just like, "You agree?" and he puts his thumb up, and BB-8 flicks that lighter. I use that GIF all the friggin' time. I love that character so much. And it's just one of those things you think is just a kid's character, but he's just got so much stuff going on.
He's a comedy relief, but he's also like, he's got a lot of personality into him. He is everything that you loved about R2-D2.
Exactly. Without R2's foul mouth. My God, they tell that droid to watch his language a lot.
Captain America should be up there saying, "Hey, watch your language, R2."
We're going to ignore the fact that Cap just said language. He's just such a fun character. There's a lot of really great smaller bits in this movie. Lupita Nyong'o as Maz Kanata is she's a fun small character. She wouldn't be good as a larger part of the story, but bringing her in, give her a couple scenes. I'm assuming we'll find out how she got the lightsaber in episode 9. I'm not gonna write an angry letter if we don't ever find out how she got it, but she's definitely a woman of the universe.
And you know what? It's kind of weird, but like as far as bad guys go, I really like General Hux.
General sucks.
I thought, at least in The Force Awakens, he was menacing, he was evil, and the kind of like the nice rivalry with Kylo Ren, I thought was very well done, at least in that movie.
Right. Well, that's essentially that's kind of the Tarkin and Vader dynamic.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Hux was an interesting character. He's definitely more intimidating in The Force Awakens, especially when he gives his big Nazi scene before they throw off the cannon. Which that is an impressive shot.
Yeah.
Just that scene from their backs into that audience is just such an impressive shot. That's something about this movie I don't think gets enough credit, is that it innovated a lot of the the visual effects that we're used to seeing in the other 6 Star Wars movies, and it spins them on their head. The Falcon going through hyperspace, and just the fact that they're actually taking it from multiple angles. It's not just, all right, you're looking at the back of the ship and here's the swirling tunnel. It takes you in and around. There's that shot of those 3 TIE fighters coming in off the glow of the sunset.
Oh yeah,
just some beautiful, beautiful cinematography in this movie, that's an Abrams staple. I mean, some of these things, especially the just being able to move that camera, is such an Abrams staple.
Yeah. I don't know. Personally, my favorite moment in the movie is when Kylo Ren is calling to that lightsaber, and it flies right past him into Rey's hands, and then that John Williams score kicks in.
Oh, do you remember seeing that in the theater?
Yeah.
Second she gets that and that music hits, the entire audience just erupted. It was fantastic. That audience was actually a pretty good one. They applauded the stuff that was brought back in, the Falcon. The second you see the Falcon, everyone's just losing their minds over the Millennium Falcon.
It's garbage. We'll take the garbage
too. It's just a fantastic movie and a very worthy reintroduction to Star Wars. This series, this 7, 8, 9 is my kids' Star Wars. This is the ones that they get to see as they come out. And I'm really happy for that. They're learning a lot. I think it's important, too, for my kids to see that type of diversity in movies, because God knows I didn't see any black people in Star Wars until Return of the Jedi. But besides Lando.
Oh, now I'm just flashing back to the opening scene of Chasing Amy.
Oh, time, motherfucker. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy this one. I'm gonna go back and watch this now. I want to watch this. Screw Fit Cat catching up on Game of Thrones. I gotta watch The Force Awakens tonight.
You know, you'll get your Gwendolyn Christie fixed some way.
I will, actually, because yeah, I will. It's episode 8, season 5. Sorry, episode 9, season 5. So, final thoughts on for The Force Awakens. Paul, you're our guest. We'll start with you, sir.
I think I have to quote. So, sorry. I don't think I can sum it up any better than how Brad Jones did it on Nostalgia Critic review of Force Awakens. Is it a timeless masterpiece? No, but it doesn't need to be either. I'm going to paraphrase. I'm going to paraphrase what he said. Force Awakens is essentially, it's the Star Wars franchise coming to us, its fans, and saying, "Hey guys, I was in a dark place for a while, but I'm back, and I'm okay. And I just want you to know that because I'm off to do new things. Hopefully they're better things, but I just want you to know that I'm back and I'm okay. Thank you for sticking with me. I love you." And that's how the way I see this movie. It's a love letter to the fans.
Yeah, I agree.
Well put.
Yeah, no, it is very well put. Mike, how are you?
Yeah. How am I supposed to top that?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah. Well, I'll try.
That's all we can ask.
I'm timing you right now.
Yeah, The Force Awakens. It didn't break entirely new ground, but what it did was bring us back into this world that we loved, and we maybe didn't feel that we got 100% from the prequels. We got the feel, but we didn't get the fun that we had from the original trilogy. This is the movie that kind of said, you know what? Star Wars is back and it is fun again. We're going to have fun. We're going to have jokes. We're going to have cute robots that we love. We're going to have new characters that are integrate with the old characters that we know and love. And they're going to be fun characters. They're going to be characters that we're going to get to know and enjoy. And this is the new conflict. Let's see where this takes us. And I think that's what we got. Like Paul said, it's not as a masterpiece. It is not this will not be my number one favorite movie, like the original Star Wars is. Mm-hmm. But this is a movie that I love, I enjoy, I had fun with, and it brought me back into the Star Wars that I wanted to be back into with the prequels, and I didn't quite get there.
Okay. I like this movie primarily because after 6 years of the prequels, I don't feel like I have to defend liking Star Wars. This movie was like, oh, we all like this movie. I mean, again, not all of us loved this movie, but a lot of us really, really, really liked this movie. It's not a masterpiece by any means. It's nowhere even near my top. I think it might be my number 5 favorite Star Wars movie. I have to go back and look at the list I had posted on somebody else's Twitter page. But but it's just it's comfort food. It's that nice soft chocolate and marshmallow that's gonna move the story forward and away from what we've been dealing with. We got the first trilogy, then we took that massive step backwards, both figuratively and literally, with the prequels, and then being able to push that stone forward to finally get a conclusion on all that. And this is where it starts. And this is an excellent first act.
Yeah.
I have to look at these trilogies. They're a 3-act play. This is a very worthy first act. And if you have any thoughts on that, please leave a comment below. Be kind, please. I know Star Wars can bring the worst out in a lot of people. There is that saying that the worst Star Wars fan is a Star Wars fan. No, nobody hates Star Wars like a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy, the conversations I've had with one of my coworkers. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know which coworker too.
Oh, yeah, we all do.
I've had those conversations with him as well.
Exactly. So yeah, if you have any thoughts about The Force Awakens, please leave them below. Don't forget to give us a like on this video. Subscribe to Geek Salad on YouTube because we get weekly content. This is week 3 of Star Wars month. Next week, we go into Solo, a Star Wars story. Sans Paul this time because he finally saw it this week, and he felt it was better that he is not involved in the discussion of this movie.
Yeah, I don't think I should be involved in this one.
Mike told me about your Facebook page. So, Paul, where can we find you? What are you up to? Plug your pluggables, man.
As Andy pointed out at the beginning, you can find me on the Nerds United's 1.5 YouTube channel. We just posted a video last week about the pseudoscience of cryptozoology. It was a whole lot of fun.
Video.
It was. We don't have anything this week, but we will be back next week. If you want to join the discussion, you can check it out. You can check out the YouTube page, comment on the videos. We also have a fan page on Facebook, which we are active on all the time, especially Chris Miller and myself. So join the discussion on that one. We'd love to have you.
Awesome.
Keep it kind though. PG-13. There you go, R-rated, but don't insult each other.
Yeah, well, yeah. We I'll link your channel at the end of this video here. So if you are interested in checking out Nerds United, I'll have it here, as well as subscribing here for our show as well. Mike and I host a little podcast as well called Geek Salad with our friends Joe and Catherine. We are pretty much doing every 3 weeks to a month with a new 1.5 hour long podcast on various topics. Last week, we released our discussion and countdown of the Star Trek movies, ranked from worst to best, and that list turns out exactly as you think it would.
Yeah, it's actually not too far off from Paul's own list.
Right, exactly. So check that out. It is a lot of fun. We had a great time discussing that. You can get us at geeksalad.podbean.com. You can download the Podbean app for all of our archives. You can also check us out and check out newer episodes on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, and Google Music. You can also follow us on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio. That is me. That is my voice. Mike's got his own Twitter. So if you're wondering who's been responding back to all that stuff, it's this Geek Salad podcast. And I think I got it all this time, right?
Yeah, except for the moment that you froze, yeah.
Woo! Oh, I froze?
Yeah, just a few seconds.
Oh, okay. Damn it. All right. So, yes, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Music, Podbean.com. I think that is it. So, again, Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
It was an absolute pleasure, and I'd be happy to come back anytime you have me.
Oh, yes. Well, this summer, little bit of a teaser here. This summer, Mike and I are going to be picking a whole bunch of summertime movies. If they tie into something that's getting released this summer, all the better. We're going to have a lot of discussions about a lot of classic 80s and 90s movies. Because what would nerdism be if we didn't have a healthy sense of nostalgia for the 80s and 90s?
I feel like 1999.
Well, the 70s have some good summer movies too. Let's not forget that.
The 70s did, yeah. Well, the 70s had Star Wars, Jaws, and Close Encounters, and that was it. What was that? What did you just flash up at me? I can't see that.
Smokey and the
Bandit. Smokey and the Bandit. Come on now.
Okay. I'm not a car guy. So yeah, we've got tons of stuff. Paul, we'll absolutely have you back this summer. So until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth, be nerdful, and may the force be with you. We'll